Good afternoon, good evening. Today, y'all, I wanted to talk to you about how when the narcissist, they are meeting you, of course, they know what they're doing, even though sometimes they'll let themselves get gaslit into the love bomb phase on the initial cycle. Now, there are some clinicians or people online that would say different, but I've listened to full-on narcissists talk on the subject. And I feel like they're vettable. But anyway, with that being said, I would say that they know exactly what they're doing. They let themselves enjoy some of the love bomb phase, even though they know from the jump that they are going to discard you, they're going to future fake you, they're going to get you trauma bonded, and they're going to play with your mind, your heart, and they're going to hijack your emotions. Now, with that being said, they do this because in a lot of ways they try to enjoy as much of life as they can, right? I mean, just like anybody else would, except they go to the nth degree as far as they cannot control themselves. They have no self-control over like lusts of like feelings and things that they do. They're impulsive, they don't care about anybody, and they're willing to walk all over you to get wherever they want to go. So when it comes to the love bomb phase, they are allowing themselves to get gaslit in the first cycle because, they kind of, I think in a lot of ways, they're not humanity anymore, really, or else the way they operate is not at all like humanity anymore. But in that love bomb phase of the first cycle, it makes them feel a little bit in the sanity of a regular individual. And I think that they like the effect of that, number one. And number two, they do it because they enjoy being admired, and they're taking fuel from their supply that is their old primary that they've been departing from and discarding, right? So that's not even their fuel that they're wasting on you. The fuel that they're using on you is just fuel stolen from whoever they've been discarding as they've been monkey branching to you. And so when that's the case, they also, it's like they enjoy all of those emotions, and all of those emotions are like, they know they're duking you or they're duping you, and they enjoy when they admire you and put you on a pedestal. You also do the same to them. And so they really do like being fawned and admired, and feel like that, they do come in a lot of times as the victim, but they will very quickly turn into the hero, as in once they have found out, as they data mined you in the first cycle. And I'm speaking to the first cycle and you're unawoke still, because I want you to understand their heart and their mind has always been devious and built on deception and manipulation. Because they've done this to everybody, they're going to do it to you too. Okay, they walk into this as if they're walking into any other new scenario. And so when they are doing this, they're data mining you so that they can now flip it from, they like those two things. They like to be the victim, and then they like to be the hero. But if they come in as the victim first, so sometimes they have to come in as like the hero, but they prefer, if it's up to them, they prefer to come in as the victim. So that's how they typically, like a covert will typically come in as the victim if they have the ability to. And so if they can come in as the victim, they will do that because the victim gets you to drop all your boundaries down very quickly, to where if they come in as the hero, also here's the other thing, it takes a lot less fuel for them as the victim. They gain a lot more, that they always work off negative reciprocity, meaning whatever they put in, they're going to get double or triple back, right? Because they're always stealing, they're always takers. So when they come in as the victim, you will kind of fight for them and you will work hard to pick them back up, right? And they love that because it also gets you to feel like, well, I am to a level that is much, I'm at a, not in a bad way, but you're kind of like, well, I'm more elevated than them right now, so I want to help them to pick them up to my level, you see. And so you're going to work real hard to do that, and you feel like that they can't really hurt you because they're coming out of a victim state of being. And so that gets you to drop your boundaries down completely. It gets you to become the hero for the victim, right? I mean, because that's what they make you feel like. But then when they data mine you, then they come out of victim phase, and then they start to become the hero for you, meaning they start telling you how building you up on that in that idolization phase to that, you know, ideal individual that they're telling you are, that godlike status or that idol that they're putting you up to be. Okay, so they're putting you on this elevated status, but they're doing it almost out of switching it from victim to now they're like a hero to you, because now they're finally, as you're giving them fuel, now they're able to tell you all these good things about yourself, because you're giving them so much fuel. And so they're starting to get really, they're starting to really glow. And you'll notice this if you start dating a narcissist and you're kind of like one of these primary sources of supply that they haven't had in a while, you'll start to see them glow right away. But you know, you're kind of unawoke, so you'll see it definitely in hindsight and pictures and stuff. But they will come in and they will start to act as the hero for you, telling you should have always been treated this way, and you know, you were mistreated all of your life and this and that. And that's in some ways what you kind of told them when they were in victim mode, when you know, you took them on as a relationship in the initial beginning of the cycle. So now they're doing the same thing to you. You know, it's the same thing. They're like, they also found out all of your childhood, like, you know, your chinks in your armor. So now they're able to like tell you all these glorious things where those chinks in the armor were always places where, you know, a lot of people in your life would always down you for, or kind of needle you maybe. And so in this case, the narcissist starts to like make it seem like they're healing those areas by telling you like how good you are. And so what it does though is you're constantly actually being pulled down. You think you're being built up, and you are in a sense, but your fuel is coming down because you're giving them so much, and you are kind of starting to notice that there's some uneasiness, because this is kind of not, it's feeling too good to be true. Okay, and so it's uneasy. You're burning all this fuel up, and you're forgetting about every other aspect of your life. You're just completely focusing on them. You're investing into them, and then they start telling you all these good things about yourself, so you start investing more, and then you start admiring them more. And what it's doing is it's actually it's pulling you down in fuel, because you know, you're just constantly investing in them only, and not yourself and everything else that you normally would be. And then secondly, it's also pulling you down from your spirit man, where you would kind of take things consciously and deal with them, you know, on a level of objective points of view, and you know, instead of like, you know, a subjective point of view. So you take it for literally what it should be, right? Like, so logically speaking. But they get you to where they've hijacked your emotional field at this point. And this is kind of where it happens, because that right away you start to trust them, and that trust you give up right away because they came in as a victim. And because they came in as a victim, you kind of gave them that trust right away, because they start telling you all these good things, and they start mirroring yourself back to you. So how could you not accept yourself back? And that's what they're doing. They're mirroring you back to yourself, so you feel comfortable, you know, doing anything. Because a lot of times when you're continually mirrored back to yourself, especially with seduction and intrigue and you know, the spell work, and witchcraft that's involved and you're not catching on to it, then it's going to, especially with them finding out all the details about, data mining you from your history, it's very hard for you to actually put that stuff down and walk away from it right away. And so it kind of drags you in. And once they get you dragged in far enough to that fantasy, and they get you pulled down, to your ego state, then they continue to pull you down to where they're actually equalizing with you on an energetic vibrational level. And then that's where things get worse, because then when they get equal with you, then, when they talk about a lot of people will say witchcraft can't bother you, can't affect you unless you get your vibration or your energetic level pulled down so far, which is kind of to a narc level. Then you can get, hit with witchcraft. And I would say, even in a biblical side of things, I would say that there's some truth to that, because you're talking about, you become like the people, you're a mirror image or of the people that the friends around you, right? That's what it says in the Bible, something similar to that. You're a reflection of them, they're a reflection of you. So as you hang out with evil, whether it's unbeknownst to you or not, you're still going into covenant with them, and sometimes it's because of the generational curse, sometimes it's because you're not close enough to the Lord, and because of that you have prices to pay, because there's disobedience there, and that you can get ensnared, right? And it always says, kind of stay close to the Lord in your relationship with him. And because you didn't, and because I didn't, and everybody else it's not a shame thing, it's just, it is what it is, but you get pulled down to their level. Remember, they would always say in church that when you're hanging out with somebody that's a non-Christian or somebody evil, you're never, it would always be in a relationship, they would always say that you can never make them better, they're always going to make you worse. And if it ever rings true, it rings true in the relationship with the empath and the narcissist. And so they pull you down, and then because they pull you down, they're able to target you and affect you now, because now you're in more of what we would say. Remember, we would say you get to a point to where you're fighting yourself, you're fighting your intuition, you can have autoimmunes, and you start getting sicker because your immune system's run down and they've been keeping you awake, and they've been getting you to second guess yourself, and all of these things that are unnatural to you, right? And then they start to breadcrumb you, and they start to cause all of this cognitive dissonance, right? And these rules and stuff like that. And so now they're taking over control, because they start to take over control after they become the hero, you see, not when they're the victim. Yeah. So the victim state is so that they can get that fuel to boost them up and to get you to give them all that trust and love. Then they become the hero to you, so that now they can overpower you and take control over the relationship. And because now they got your emotional field hijacked, whether you know it or not. And so these are things, they will, get you into these relationships knowing that they're going to get you addicted to them through the trauma bond, that they're going to hijack your emotional field, that they're going to cheat on you, and they're going to lie to you and manipulate to you, and all of these things. And so you got to understand that. And then when they cheat on you and leave you, then they're going to bait you back into the relationship over and over again. And so a lot of times we would say, well, they're crazy, and how could you ever think that crazy? And I've said that a lot. But if you think about it, we're looking at it from more of a crazy side than they are. I mean, to some degree, if they're in control all the time, right, it is crazy making. But when you're in control of the crazy making, it's not as confusing on their end as it is on your end receiving it. And they have the agenda and you don't. So they know what they're doing. It's clear to them what they're doing, to where in your case, you're kind of misunderstanding the whole thing and you're trying to search all the time. So in a sense, they get trauma bonded because they need your fuel, and you have the best fuel, and you have the best love and admiration, and they are lazy, and you do a lot of work for them. But and because you treat them like more of a normal individual, and you prop them up, and they're not used to that. You're used to probably being treated the way that they should be most of the time. Not always, but to some degree. People out there that are on their same vibration can see through them because they're the same types. Okay, but what they do is they get trauma bonded you through the fuel. You get trauma bonded to them because of the crazy making and the misunderstandings. And then because they keep doing the hot and the cold with you, and you're trying to figure them out and understand them and help them. And see, that's where the help comes in, and that's where the rumination comes in, because you know, we are truth seekers and truth tellers. And so when we meet the narcissist, we can understand a lot of situations because we find the truth in it. But with the narcissist, you really have a tough time. And it's even when you know what they are, it's hard to figure them out because they're dealing with something from the underworld. And if you're on there, give me a like, a subscription, and a thumbs up. I love y'all. And as much as I want to edit this, I'm not going to tonight because I don't have time, but I hope this blesses somebody out there. Give me a like and a thumbs up, and love y'all. Until next time, Soul Job, peace, we out.